Let's say I wanted a job at Netflix, and I'm thinking to myself, there's a million people who want to work at Netflix. They're all going to do the same thing. They're going to get a resume, and then they're going to submit that resume, and now we're all the same. What I would do, seriously, is that do you not think that that stands out much better than everybody doing exactly the same thing?
The traditional path is not cutting it anymore. What has changed for companies that are hiring right now?
Now, coming in as a junior engineer means very different because I don't need you to come in and just write code all day. I need you to come in and contribute across the entire product lifecycle.
Why do you think your resume isn't working?
Your resume isn't working because nobody's reading it. Resumes are typically structured for a human to read. So what happens when that's not the primary way that a resume is being consumed? So it almost feels like you need two resumes, one for the algorithm, then one for the actual person.
AI won't take your job, but someone using AI will. Do you agree with that?
AI may take your job, and it's okay if it does, because I think at some point, there's going to be the job that you were meant to do. So I think what you're gonna have to figure out is, what are some of the things that are best for a human to do, and make sure that you have those skills too.
Let's say I am an engineer and I'm starting today. I have nothing but time and hunger. What should I do to be employable in 2026?
I don't know. All I know is what I would do. Let's say,
Hey folks, I am Prasen Shelar. Today's conversation is short, sharp, and long overdue. As you all know, job postings for developers are down by 35%. Entry-level hiring has been slashed. AI is writing better boilerplate than most juniors. So what does that mean for you? For today's conversation, joining me is someone who's seen every layer of the stack and the industry, Kelsey Hightower. From sleeping in his car to becoming a distinguished engineer at Google, you all are aware of his story. He's built systems, shaped culture, and mentored thousands. So let's get into what software engineering actually demands in 2025. Hey Kelsey, thank you so much for your time. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. One, because I really admire your work. And the second is, I think people will resonate with your story quite a bit. And with the changing reality of the tech world, I really wanted to address this topic of staying relevant in the market and kind of hearing your stories and how like something coming from you as an advice would help people who were. I sense a lot of I would say this feeling of being more afraid because of the changing reality of the tech world at this point in time. So I want to clear up the air and help people understand what's really happening out there. So why don't we start with a quick story from you, Kelsey, just about your background so that people can get more context and understand you as a person.
well, look, I think I've been competing my whole life, right? As a kid, I played sports, and you have to make the team. You have to compete. And so that means you have to practice on your own. You have to play at the park. You have to put in the effort to make the team because there's only so many spots on a team, right? And then if I think about in terms of a job, I've always taken the jobs that were closest to me, right? So everyone, you start with fast food. And I have a self-taught tech career. I didn't go to college. I didn't do computer science. And a lot of people, and I was also in the back of my head is like, am I limiting my job opportunities if I don't go get a formal education? And the thing that made me feel comfortable is that it doesn't matter because you're going to always be competing. So whether you get a CS degree or not, you're always going to be competing for a spot on that team. And I think that has become foundational for me. So my entire tech career has been me somewhat competing, and not the type of competition where a zero sum game where there's just not enough jobs for people. I think traditionally, at least for the majority of my 25-year career, it has always felt like there's a shortage of talent and people that can actually do the work. And so for me, I always felt like I was just competing for the best opportunity possible. And that just meant having the skills necessary to be attractive on the job market.
So let's get straight to the point, Kelsey. Let's be honest, right? The traditional paths of boot camps and resume and junior role is not cutting it anymore. Okay. And so, what has changed for companies that are hiring right now? And what should a software engineer not assume before they apply or start exploring?
Yeah, I think when I got into tech, it's like 1999. So last century. And back then, the internet is roughly new still. Some people are still new to this concept of personal computing. There's so many things where every company is early. Even the more mature companies are doing their first set of custom applications instead of buying everything from IBM. And so the appetite for developers learning Java and Python, it's all new at that time. Fast forward 25 years, a lot of the products are mature. And so I think now coming in as a junior engineer means very different. I don't need someone who just knows how to program. That was great 15 years ago when that was a novelty. Now it's like I need someone that can think about product. And product is very different than just creating a project, right? A project is like, oh, I built this little toy and I put it on GitHub. And those are fine. The world needs those. But also, I think when you're talking about a business, when we think about product, there's a user experience, there is features so that they can compete in the global landscape. And I think for a lot of people that are going to come into the space, it's not that there are no junior engineer roles. Maybe there's less junior coding roles because I don't need you to come in and just write code all day. I need you to come in and contribute across the entire product lifecycle. I need you to know how to write product documentation. I need you to think about and reason about the customer. And so this is why it always pains me to see someone that goes to school and they delay building things until they get their first internship or until they get their first job. I think you should learn how to start building quote unquote products, even at a small scale, as early as possible.
So, are you saying that software engineers need to play an evolving role of like a mix between product managers and software engineering role, like somewhere in the middle? Is that what it kind of like boils down to?
I think, and I could be wrong, there's going to be value in bringing the whole person to the equation. When you're a director and you're making movies, your personality tends to shine through. That's why people look for what director was involved in this movie. If you're a fashion designer, your personality goes a very long way and it gets reflected in the product that people see on the shelves. Even if you're a plumber, you need to know how to make people feel confident, explain to them the issue, they're not being ripped off, explain the work that needs to be done, and then being able to show them in a way that makes them feel confident that you did a good job. Because that's what you're competing with, that whole personality. So we've divvied up these roles traditionally, right? We have a person doing the testing, one person writing the code, one person doing product, one person doing sales. And it almost got people to the point of so much isolation that they don't understand the software business. You have to think about the whole process because you're building software, I hope, for people, right? So if I'm going to be hiring someone, what is your taste? Do you have style? Can you bring something to the table that the team doesn't currently have? And I think those things start to weigh more. So yes, is that traditionally left to the product managers to think holistically? Sure, traditionally, but I do think it's going to be a good idea for you to really come in with ideas on how to move the product forward versus just being able to execute once someone figures all of that out for you instead.
Let's say I am an engineer and I'm starting today. I have nothing but time and hunger. What should I do to be employable in 2026?
I don't know. All I know is what I would do.
Okay.
Let's say I'm in my last year of college. I might feel like time is running out and I want to have a career in technology. And here's exactly what I would do. I would first go figure out like what is the hottest technologies right now. And I would see things like Rust, Golang, and Python is back again because of the big AI ML movement. So I will look at those three and say, you know what? I think I'm going to bet big on Python, mainly because there's a lot of the ML space. But also, if I want to do DevOps, I know Golang, Terraform is written in Golang, all the industry tools that my peers are using. So I would just make this as my thesis. I think these two languages are worth learning because of these reasons. And I would just go find someone doing that type of work. Where would I find these people? I just go to my local meetup. I would just go to DevOps meetup. I would go to the Rust meetup, Python meetup, and say, hey, I got this one pager. I got some questions. Am I thinking about this correctly? Are these the two right programming languages? Like, I'm not going to get caught up in the best language, but I just want to know, are these ones very relevant in the day-to-day work that you're doing at your job or someone that knows the industry well? Then I'm going to start participating any way I can. Look, if there's an Apple store, here's the way I'm going to think about this. I'm willing to take the best job that's available to me, but while I'm waiting, and searching. I don't think you have to reduce your standards or your ambitions, but I might go work at the Apple store and say, Kelsey, what are you going to do with the Apple store? It's like, well, think about the Apple ecosystem. It's vast, it's rich. And let's just say I get a job at the Apple store. I don't care if I'm selling iPhones. I want to learn what it's going to take to work at the Genius Bar. And while I'm at the Apple store, I'm going to learn every certification. I'm going to learn the Swift programming language. I'm going to start building mobile apps and getting them to the App Store. Even if it's just a toy app, I'm going to learn how to build an Apple product. I'm going to read internal Apple style guide about how they think about building mobile apps and experiences. I'm going to think about how that app fits into battery life because people run these apps on phones. So maybe it gives me a little bit to learn there. What about the M1 ARM chip? Why did they pick ARM? I'm gonna learn everything I can. And while I'm hunting for better opportunities, I might try to apply for jobs at Apple headquarters in Cupertino where I can go write software. And when they interview me and they ask me, why are you the best candidate for this? And I'll say, look, I've worked in the Apple store. I understand the importance of battery life and why we use these Swift libraries to build the best apps. I understand the end-to-end experience of Apple itself. And now I just want to come inside and go deeper and use all these skills I've amassed, my software development skills, my company product skills, my customer service skills, and put them all into my software engineering. I'm going to be building a case for myself. And if I don't get it on year one, I'll try it on year two. And ideally, I get another job before that has this time to play out. But that's the way I would do it. I would just get off the sidelines and I would just go deep. So if I'm at the Apple store, then I'm going to learn Swift. Why? Because I work at Apple. And that's the Apple programming language. And I'm going to go as far as I can with it.
Okay, so I'm going to go quickly through 5 prompts, and you can react to it like quickly in a short manner, whatever you want. Okay, so why learning to code is no longer enough to get hired?
Because the job is way more than writing code. You're building products.
AI won't take your job, but someone using AI will. Do you agree with that?
AI may take your job, and it's okay if it does, because I think at some point, there's going to be the job that you were meant to do, right? Because I think for a lot of people, their jobs have been just writing code, and AI is getting better at just doing that. So I think what you're going to have to figure out is what are some of the things that are best for a human to do, and make sure that you have those skills too. And that is a sliding scale that will probably change from here on out.
Why do you think your resume isn't working, and what to do instead?
Your resume isn't working because nobody's reading it. I heard some people are applying for hundreds of jobs at a time.
Yeah.
And so that means if one person is applying for hundreds of jobs at a time, and there are thousands, if not millions of people looking for jobs, we're at the point now where no one's reading these things. So no one knows who you are, and they're just going through all of these filters. And so now your resume is now needing to be optimized for the technology pipeline that it flows through before it even hits the other person. And so I think the old way of thinking about resumes, even how they're structured, right? Resumes are typically structured for a human to read. So what happens when that's not the primary way that a resume is being consumed? So it almost feels like you need 2 resumes, one for the algorithm, and then one for the actual person. But also let's challenge what a resume is. I don't think a resume is 2 pieces of paper with your accomplishments written on them. I think the resume is your whole body of work, your game film, the things that are on GitHub, the talks that you do in public, how you express yourself and design yourself, and the network you built by doing those internships and working with people. So to me, every human interaction is an interview in some way. And that becomes a reflection of your entire resume, not just the thing that we feed through the algorithm.
Let's talk about some specific scenario. Okay, like there are 10 jobs that I'm looking at right now, and they say that this one's for data scientist, this one's for software engineer, this one's for something specific, right? And if I am applying, do you think by instead of just putting the resume, you have to go and do something around it that would give you a better chance of getting in, or like kind of exploring through it?
So here's the thing, here's where I think I'm fundamentally think about this different. Let's say I wanted a job at Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this job posting and I'm thinking to myself, there's a million people who want to work at Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
They're all going to do the same thing. They're going to get a resume, may even pay someone to write a better resume for them or use ChatGPT. And then you're going to submit that resume, and now we're all the same.
Yep.
All of us are the same. What? Maybe one of us got lucky. Maybe they like my name. Who knows? What I would do, seriously, I'm not trying to get every job. I only need one job. So look, I may spray and pray for the majority of them,
Yeah.
but for the ones that I really, really want, I might redesign the Netflix website to show people my design skills. I might fix a pet peeve of mine and just build a prototype, put it on GitHub, go to social media and say, hey, at Netflix, I wish the menu looked more like this. Here's my prototype to my GitHub. I'm trying everything to get lucky, right? So I'm thinking about what can I do that I know you're not doing? Because I know I'm competing with the rest of you all. So maybe I can put it on the resume and hopefully I get lucky that someone follows the link. May not happen. Or I'm going to go to the Netflix meetup. It's in Seattle, right? I might go, there's a meetup at their office. I'm going to go find out. I'm going to go there and be in the audience and I'm going to give a talk. Why am I giving a talk? I'm going to bring my resume in my hand and I'm going to give a talk about what it's like as a new person trying to break into tech. And then my talk is going to be titled as a new person trying to break into tech, how I would get a job at Netflix. And it's like, oh my God, how bold is that? The title of your talk is how I'm going to land a job at Netflix. Now I'm manifesting. This is my entire resume, the YouTube videos. Then I may put a post on LinkedIn saying, I just gave my first talk at a meetup. It's about how I would get it, how I'm going to get a job at Netflix and the things that I'm doing. And I'm posting that on LinkedIn. What do you think happens when the LinkedIn recruiter starts looking for random people on LinkedIn to reach out to? Isn't this very interesting? Hey guys, I think you should look at this talk. This is a guy last year of college. He spoke at this meetup, and the talk, because title's funny, is called "How I'm Going to Get a Job at Netflix." And he go on to talk about Netflix open source projects, how he's contributing to them, what he thinks about Netflix. He even has a prototype on how to improve the website. Do you not think that that stands out much better than everybody doing exactly the same thing? Kelsey, it may not work. I know it may not work. I can't guarantee you anything, but if you don't buy the lotto ticket, there's no way you can win. And so to me, I think about all of these little interactions, the LinkedIn post, the meetup talk, the GitHub prototype, just me trying as buying little lotto tickets that hopefully one of them cashes in because I don't know how you're just going to get lucky doing what everybody else is doing.
One last question, okay? And this is where I really want people to get value out of this and saying that, hey, if this is the one thing that people can build this week, what would that be to stand out?
Man, there's so many good answers, man, but I would say your confidence. You got to build your confidence because I don't know where you are, and when you also don't know where you are, it tends to show up in the interview process. People come in, you're timid, you're shaking, you have a good answer, but you forget to give it. And I think when you're just like this week, remember that's not a lot of time. And so if you can contribute to just moving the needle on your confidence level, right? Like, hey, you've been learning Python for the last year. What should you build? You can build any random thing and put it on GitHub for sure. But what I want you to have is the confidence that when you go into a job, whether it's entry level, mid career, whatever, that you have the confidence to go into that interview and say, look, I know what I know. I'm okay what I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. And so when you can give answers out of confidence, that doesn't mean you have to lie. You don't have to BS people. You don't have to cheat. But you come in and say, look, I really believe in myself. I think I will be a great addition to your team. And I'm not talking about coming in being arrogant. I'm talking about being confident that if somebody gives you a chance, you are confident that it's going to be one of the best decisions that they've ever made. And you show that. So imagine you're in an interview and someone asks you a trivia question and you don't get the answer right, but the confidence of even trying to say, hey, I don't know the answers to that, but I would like to try to work through it. Do you mind if I use the whiteboard? And you start asking additional follow-up questions. You start taking a particular approach, and then they start giving you feedback and you learn in real time, almost like you're interviewing. This is how I'm going to behave when I'm faced with new challenges and new problems, just like this in this interview. So seeing the confidence, not that you were right, but that I'm willing to ask the follow-up questions. I'm willing to at least try. And even if I have to look stupid in the short term, I have the confidence to at least give it a go.
Confidence is definitely the key. I would double down on that. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kelsey. This was um, really good. And all these insights coming from you are going to resonate a lot with the the crowd that is looking for jobs or kind of looking to switch from their existing career pattern, and this in this changing reality, I think your words would mean a lot. Thank you so much for all of this, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Kelsey, thank you so much for being that rare mix of truth and clarity. And to everyone listening, don't wait for a job to grow. Build something, prove it, and evolve. See you next time.